When the times are tough, you show up more, especially when you're scared, especially when it's that vulnerable moment where you don't want to share and ask for help. That's when I need you to ask for help the most. I'm going to ask you to take a leap of faith on yourself. I'm going to ask you to do things that I know is going to make you uncomfortable, knowing that that uncomfortableness is where all growth happens. They don't call it growing pains for no reason. I'm going to ask of you to do more for yourself, your future self, your family, your friends, your community than you're probably comfortable and capable of thinking you can do. So from my heart to your heart, I've been through tough times. They don't last. But the people that are willing to work through the tough times, do the hard things, put themselves out there, share with the world they need help, those people tend to come up higher. They tend to do it faster. They tend to grow. People with high standards rise to the occasion. And we know you're here because you have high standards for yourself. If you are receiving this message, it's because you've possibly fallen on some hard times. Maybe your business has shifted, your market has shifted, and things aren't going the way that maybe you had planned, and I get it. Sales is a hard skill to learn. And oftentimes we come in with the impression that if we show up to a few sessions, if we do a little bit, we're gonna master this art of selling. And communication is one of the hardest skills, and it's constantly evolving and constantly changing. And it changes because of markets, it changes because of politics, it changes because of COVID, right? It changes because of so many different factors that are working against us at such lightning speeds that we often feel overwhelmed and bombarded. I wanted to share a quick story with you before I walk you through our scholarship program, because I feel that if I'm going to ask you to be vulnerable and put yourself out there, then it's only fair that I do the same. I hired Sharon to be a coach of mine in 2019, 2020, something like that. And it was, I don't know, $30,000 or $40,000 for the year, is what he was charging me for it. And about halfway through the year, the business that we were supposed to open that was going to cost $150,000 ended up costing $400,000. I had shut down the real estate business. I retired from that. I thought I was going to get into some more of what I'm doing now. My dad wanted to get into a business. He's not a big believer in the coaching world. I got weak in my knees and I succumbed, and I went and started a business with my dad, and I avoided I ignored every red flag. And I went from being on top of the world just a few months earlier to being completely underwater. The business was delayed. We're probably going on 9-month delay. And I had to reach out to Sharon. Sharon's like, hey man, you're not doing your check-ins. You're not booking your calls. Like, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, I'm busy. He's like, yeah, I know you are, but that's why I'm here to help you with what you're doing. And I go, yeah. He's like, hey bro, can I be real with you? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, you're not the type of guy that just disappears. So something's going on. Can you just be real and tell me? And I'm like, I just don't have the money to pay you right now. He's like, how much do you owe me right now? And I'm like, I don't know. I think it's like 10K. And he goes, why don't we just create like a payment plan that you feel comfortable, because like I don't need the money, Vic, from you, but I know that if you don't pay me, you're not going to show up because you haven't shown up. And he essentially created a scholarship plan for me, which is what we want to pay for to you. Fast forward a couple years, I hired a guy named Bedros Koulian. It was $50,000 a year, 1 hour per month, right? It's crazy. 50 hours, $50,000 for 1 hour a month. I'd also just done the project with him, which is like kind of like a men's boot camp reset. And I got kicked out of the project. And when we would do our coaching sessions together, about 3 months in, he goes, hey man, what's up? And nothing. And I would have to drive to him. Like, I had to come to California. There was no Zoom calls. It was all in person, right? You know, when you're spending that kind of money, it's important to shake hands and get belly to belly. And about 3 months in, he goes, I know what's up. And I go, what's up? He's like, you didn't complete the project. And every time you see me, it reminds you of the project. And I go, yeah. And I go, but I don't have the money. He's like, so why don't you just sign back up? I'm like, dude, it's $15,000. He's like, all right, I'll pay for it. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I'll just take one of your payments and I'll just apply that to the project. I was like, well, the other problem is that I don't have the money to continue paying you right now. It's paying like $6,000 or $7,000 a month. We weren't making that kind of money. I had real estate transactions that was funding it. The reason I share this with you is because tough times don't last, tough people do. And Bedros goes, you like biking? I go, I love biking. He goes, how often do you bike? I said, I bike a couple 100 miles a week. He's like, great. When you're going to meet your group, I want you to listen to these certain things. When you come home, I want you to write down certain things. I want you to send it to me. right? The same thing that I'm going to ask of you, I had to do myself. He says, I want you to track how many outbound calls you're making for your business every day. He's like, how many are you making right now? I'm like, 0. He's like, why? I'm like, I just feel like a loser. He's like, you're not a loser. You're just in tough times. He's like, I'm giving you the project. It was a $15,000 gift. I'm going to extend your payments for 6 months. Don't even worry about the next 90 days. Just ignore them. We're going to work harder together. You're going to send me daily check-ins, right? Your Triz dashboard. You're going to do your activity logs every day. He's like, you're going to go back to doing the things that you know you're supposed to do, but you're not because you don't feel like a winner because you're not making the money. He's like, because if you don't do those, you're never going to make the money and you're always going to feel like a loser. I was like, I can't ask her that. He's like, look at my office building, Vic. Do you think that if I don't get $3,000 from you, my life is going to be ruined? And I said, probably not. He goes, I'm in a position to pay it forward. And one day, remember this moment because it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. He's like, you're going to have people that you're going to have a choice to pay it forward to. He said, but remember what I'm telling you and I'm requiring of you and I'm forcing you to do. He's like, you got to go back to the project. If you guys want to see the project, go to my Instagram page. It's one of my pinned posts. It's 75 hours of some of the hardest things that most people will say no to. I had to go back a second time. Right? The hardest thing about doing the project isn't the physical thing for me. It was having to go back a second time and facing the people that I had quit on myself earlier for because I wasn't mentally prepared. Like literally class 002, I got kicked out of the class. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Our scholarship program is our opportunity for us to pay it forward, right? We're not in the position of Sharon and Bedros where we can just, extend things out. We also know that there's a karmic balance. We know that if there's not a little bit of pain, that you're not going to do the work. We know that we need that constant reminder as human beings. It's just part of the human experience. There are going to be requirements of you. The same requirements we asked you to make months ago, we're going to ask you to recommit to those. But this time we're going to hold you to a higher standard, right? Don't run from us, run to us. Let us be your support. Let the community pour into you. They have had tough times. The reason why our community is so tight is because people come to us. Typically, 80% of customers of our clients come to us as a last resort. It's not the people that are doing well that think, hey, I need sales training. It's the people that aren't doing well that need sales training. It's the exact opposite. When you're doing well, that's when you should be working out even harder. But our industry is super flawed. And it's not your fault that you got to us a little bit late in the game, right? It's not your fault that the industry told you to spend all your money on everything else other than getting the skills necessary and honing in on those. It's not your fault that people think sales training makes you salesy, right? And you just got to me a little bit late. It is your problem though, and we need to address that head on. And the reason you're here with us is because I truly believe God doesn't work in mysterious ways. God works perfectly. I truly believe that we are here on this path together because we were meant to be together. And you pulled yourself and you pulled the rope. I won't let you down, but I won't let you off. Because if I do let you off, I let you down. This is a partnership. Just like when you work with a seller, it's a partnership. You are doing some things, they are doing some things. When both people hold their end of the bargain and you do the proper the $1 billion listing presentation, right? And you do the right things, you will get an outcome that is fairly consistent. When you follow the pricing strategy before you talk about pricing and market dynamics, you will have a consistent, better sales price than the average agent. When you follow the ultimate appointment booking formula, which I am going to ask you to rededicate to memory, three things. The ultimate appointment booking formula, 7-figure buyer presentation, and the $1 billion listing presentation. I'm going to ask you to commit to those. I know they're long, big deal. I have my backpack, no joke, my sales script. Why? I'm always reviewing it. Why? Because I care about people's success. And I would not be true to me if I didn't have the best presentation possible, right? Am I as good as somebody else? Probably not. but I always striving to be my best. Yes, and that's what I want from you. Are you willing to do your tracker, your daily activity tracker? I can tell you when you look at your daily activity trackers, your numbers go up, just like Bedros asked me to do, just like Sharon has asked me to do, just like my coaches in the past have forced me to do, just like right now, my assistant, Louisa, asks me every day, hey, do you have the tracker done? Yeah, I didn't do it. You got to do it, Vic. Leave me alone, Louisa. That's fine. I'll leave you alone, but you got to do it. Can you do it for me? I already did what I can do. You have to do the rest. But I didn't make any sales yesterday. That's why you need to do it. All right, fine. I'll do it. When you see those numbers, you're like, okay, maybe I need to work harder. Maybe I need to listen to what Vic says. When I ask of you to show up to 75 to 80% of our live training sessions, I'm not doing it as a punishment. I'm doing it because I want you to learn. When I ask of you to record your conversations and listen back to them, look, I don't lie. If you want, ask me. I'll show you. I review my sales team's calls every day. We have group training every day. We have one-on-ones every day. I ask of them only what I would ask of you because it's only what I ask of myself and it's only what my trainers have asked of me. And that's why we're able to now, just a few years ago, I wasn't, but we're able now to do the things like give a scholarship if this is something you're willing to commit to. I'm going to ask of you to recommit to another 6 months with me, right? And maybe your last 6 months, you weren't fully committed, right? And that's okay. I get it. With so much stuff coming at us from the internet telling us that we need to do all the other things except for work on our skills, I get it. It's hard to sometimes think that this is super important. And what we're going to do for you is we're going to hold your feet to the fire. We're going to support you. We're going to give you a scholarship pricing. We are going to be fully in the trenches with you. But I can't be out there on the battlefield by myself. I need you with me. I need you with me. I can't pull you. I can't carry you. I need you to want to be there. And I need you to commit to being there. When the times are tough, you show up more because that's when you need us the most. I'm going to need you to post on our community board, especially when you need help, especially when you're scared, especially when it's that vulnerable moment where you don't want to share and ask for help. That's when I need you to ask for help the most. Because I promise you our community will rise far greater than you would ever expect because they've been there before. I'm going to ask you to take a leap of faith on yourself. I'm going to ask you to do of things that I know is going to make you uncomfortable, knowing that that uncomfortableness is where all growth happens. They don't call it growing pains for no reason. I'm going to ask of you to do more for yourself, your future self, your family, your friends, your community than you're probably comfortable and capable of thinking you can do. And I'm going to push you, and our team's going to push you. We're going to hold you accountable. Why? Because people with high standards rise to the occasion. And we know you're here because you have high standards for yourself. We're going to ask you to share your calendar with us possibly. We're going to ask you to do things that you don't want to do. Why? Because we want you to have an extraordinary life. We want you to have a life that most people will never have in the real estate space. We want you to go out there and crush it. I'll tell you a selfish reason. I know that if you do what I ask of you, you'll never leave me. You might leave the program and come back, but you'll never leave me as a human. That to me is super valuable. I know that you'll refer people to our company and help us grow. Just like you want referrals, guess what? We love to work with your referrals too. I know that your life will change in ways that it's not about Rolexes. It's about kids and family and travel and parents. It's about fixing the leaky roof before it leaks. It's about upgrading your neighborhood, upgrading your car, not because, yes, we all like nice cars, but upgrading because you realize your car is actually not as safe and reliable, possibly as the one that you should get. Doesn't mean you got to go buy a $200,000 Benz, but you could upgrade from something that's 8, 10 years old to something 3 or 4 years old. It allows you to invest into your future. It allows you to get an assistant. It allows you to start to buy higher quality leads, right? Like, so that you can do more business and help more people because you have now the skills. Because real estate is a game of traffic, systems, and skills. But the number one thing is skills before traffic and systems. I have a fundamental belief. If we keep doing what we've always done, we're going to continue to get worse results than we got last year. Doing the same thing over and over again is a recipe for disaster. If you choose to continue to work with us, we are all in. If you choose to go out and do things on your own, I wish you the best. And I hope whoever you find can get you motivated and you're aligned with them so that you can do the work. I hope they have a process that you can plug into and not just some accountability one-on-one calls, because it feels good to not have to share your fears and vulnerability in front of a group of people. I'll tell you though, the people that share their vulnerabilities in front of the group of people are the ones that grow faster. If we stay in the dark, we're always in the dark. The only way to see the light is to lighten up. So from my heart to your heart, I've been through tough times. They don't last. But the people that are willing to work through the tough times, do the hard things, put themselves out there, share with the world they need help, those people tend to come up higher. They tend to do it faster. They tend to grow. And so there's a link below. Apply. We can't accept everybody, right? We wish we could. We're just not in the position. Apply below. And if you're accepted, put in the commitment, because there are other people that we unfortunately just can't accept right now. And it breaks my heart that we're not there yet. But with your support and with you doing the work and with you being somebody that allows us to utilize your story as a proof piece, we can help more people and we can make the tides rise faster. I will see you soon, and thank you for watching.